Hello.
All right. So hello and welcome to the Chronicles of Yarnia, the podcast from Montclair's local yarn store.
Woo.
Episode 44. Yes. I'm Kathleen.
I'm Haley.
Amanda.
I am Jen. I remembered to introduce myself this time. Hello, everyone.
If this is your first time watching us, welcome. We're a podcast all about knitting, crochet, a little spinning, a little embroidery, what's going on around Montclair, New Jersey, which is where we're from. Usually we're all together, but because of coronavirus, plus the fact that I just had a baby 8 weeks ago, we're all recording separately from now, but I'm sure we'll be back together soon. If you're returning, thank you so much too. Glad to see you again. And if you could like and subscribe down in the lower corner, if you haven't already, that would be awesome. Love to know that you guys are enjoying our podcast that we bring to you every other week.
And we were not able to participate last time. I was not feeling very great, and
I don't have many projects, which we will get into later.
So we did not participate in the last one, but got to watch what Jen and Amanda were doing, which was really fun, and we're back with you this time. So because it has been 4 weeks since we were on, and I've been really knitting like crazy. Have a lot of finished objects, and we don't really know of anything specific happening around town. Yeah. So we're gonna I'm sure Jen and Amanda will have things to talk about for that. So we're gonna pass.
Just be nice to people. Black Lives Matter. That's all I have to say.
Okay.
Let's see. Let's go dive right in. What's going on around town? What is going on around town? I have no idea. It's cold. It's sweater weather. I'll tell you what's going on a little bit around town in the store is that we posted a ton of new classes, online classes held on Zoom, including Stacia has a first sweater class and Susan has a crochet sweater class that maybe might have missed. I'm not sure. But anyway, there's Brioche, there's Knitting 101. I think we have Crochet 101. Yeah, check it out. Because I think that I'm actually really liking the Zoom classes. I'm liking teaching the Zoom classes, partially because I miss human interaction that with people who are not my relations. So it's really nice to be able to talk to others, but there's something we're able to record the class recordings, so you can go back. We send out a private YouTube link afterwards to the participants, so you can go back and review. So if I went too fast going through something, which sometimes I do, you can go back and rewind it and watch it again or watch through. And I feel like that's also just really helpful for me as a teacher. But I also love the fact that it doesn't matter where you are. Although I miss being in the store around the table, especially in the new store, it's really nice to see people from farther afield. And you can go on vacation and not miss a class, which is great. Not that we're going anywhere, but you know what I mean. So, let's see what else is going on around town. It's coming up on Valentine's Day soon and Groundhog Day. I can't believe it's almost February. It's a little crazy.
First, what's going on around Montclair? Not that much still. Kids are still in Zoom school for the most part. There's a few activities getting started again. Abby, my 8-year-old, is actually going to an in-person art class on Saturday for the first time in pretty much a year, at the Montclair Art Museum. Usually the Montclair Art Museum has tons of kids programs on the weekend, and they're great. And Abby, who's passionate about art, she loves it. So she is always signed up for an art class on the weekends. But of course we couldn't go for the past year. But I think they've done a really good job. She did a virtual classes over the summer. And then this spring, they are having in-person art classes again. Now they're doing it really safe. They're in like the biggest auditorium area. And there's a very limited number of kids, I think like one per, like big round, almost banquet hall table. Everybody has their own supplies. It's all extremely socially distanced and masked up all the time, but I think it'll be very good for her to get out of the house and see her art teacher in person again. So that's exciting. Abby's really excited about it. She has her own calendar now that she's in Zoom school, right? Where she can see what classes she has next and what the Zoom codes are, and she's flipped to Saturday and said, I have art on Saturday. Yay. So that's fun. Abby's thrilled about that. I did check for some events that are going on around town that some of you guys might be interested in. I found one that's really interesting. I'm going to look at my phone to make sure that I get all the details right. But on February 2nd, the Women's Club of Glen is hosting a sort of a virtual seminar on how you can get involved with the community if that's something you're interested in doing. So they've got a lot of speakers from community organizations who make a big impact all year long. Tony's Kitchen, the Neighbor to Neighbor Network, Human Needs Food Pantry, and several others are going to be speaking, like their directors or whatever leadership is going to be speaking there, telling you how to get involved. Like I said, the event is sponsored by the Women's Club of Glen, and I'm going to put a link to their information down below if you're interested. And it's a free event, session to come and online and see how you can get involved, especially if you feel like you're stuck inside without that much to do on the weekends or during the week, right? It's a good way to make good use of time. And also, they're encouraging folks, in lieu of signing up and registering and paying to attend their event, they're suggesting taking out from one of our local restaurants here, who they've coordinated a meal with for participants at a great rate. So that sounds like a really fun evening. If I didn't have a million little people who occupy all my time every day anyway, that's the kind of thing I really enjoy doing. Actually, if I didn't have an 8-week-old, I might check it out. I'm always looking for things for our Girl Scout troop to get involved with and participate in, which is a good idea. It's sort of overwhelming to think about committing our Girl Scout troop to doing something. That's my next goal, is to get the next troop meeting scheduled, because I did one in December, but I didn't do one in January, and it is cookie sale time, and I haven't even started our troop selling cookies, so we might be last week blitzing with order this week or you're out, because I don't know, pre-orders, right? I mean, it's Girl Scout cookies, so there will be, once they come, there'll be more opportunities to get Girl Scout cookies, and that'll be more in the March, mid-March time frame. Anyway, that's me noodling on all the things I have to do that I haven't done yet. But that's about all that's going on around town right now.
So, with that, we're going to start talking about our finished objects. So, right now, we have 2 Felixes. 2 Feli? Felixes.
Feli! That's funny.
Feli.
Did you know that the plural of octopuses, or it is octopuses, it's not octopi?
Really?
Yeah.
How come?
Unfortunately. I don't know.
So someone just made that up, that it should be octopi?
Well, I mean, it follows the conventions, but yeah, it's a misconception, but I still say octopi.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Whenever you have occasion to talk about multiple octopuses at once.
I mean, it's just like breaking copyright. If enough people say it and it becomes common knowledge, you can't say it's not a word because people use it. So
True.
That's how I feel about the word funner.
Ugh, you know how I feel about funner.
Well, I mean, there's certain phrases that I know and willingly say wrong, but like play it by ear. I always thought it was Y-E-A-R, and I get that it makes sense. You play the piano by ear, but I don't like that version. So,
interesting.
I don't like that version. I get that play it by ear makes no sense theoretically, but
I've never heard play it by ear before.
that's just what I always thought it was.
Okay, I can understand.
For
that.
way too long, I did not. There's another one too that I like say wrong, but I like say it wrong on purpose.
Well, wasn't it the Junie B. Jones books when you were really little that it had funner in it? And
That's
then,
like one place, but we just said that like in elementary
it's
school.
funner. I'm like, it makes me cringe. It's more fun.
No 6-year-old's gonna say more fun.
I guess not. All right. So, can we talk about your sweater?
This one that I'm wearing.
Yes. So this is Haley's Felix, made in Lucky Tweed, made by me.
In fog color.
The fog colorway, which I was so happy with it. I don't even know how long it took me to make it. Not long.
I feel like 8 days maybe.
Yeah, 8 or 9 days. It was so nice to work on the first size of a sweater. So, so it's got the nice little eyelets, and it blocked out beautifully, and I think it fits you really nicely.
Yes,
You
it
love it?
does. I do.
I'm glad. It's really nice. Such a fun pattern. And I am also wearing a Felix, but this one
Also in Lucky Tweed.
Yes, also in Lucky Tweed. This is the golden colorway. And I wore it a couple of times, and I said, I don't know, I just wasn't feeling it as a pullover for me. So maybe even though I like yellow and orange and everything, it was just too much unrelieved yellow and orange. So by steeking it, I'm wearing a shirt underneath it, and
now it's a cardigan.
Which I like my cardigans. I've been, wear cardigans a lot of the time. And also, like, they're easier to take on and off. Like, if I'm suddenly, like, running up and down the stairs in the store to get yarn from the basement and whatever, sometimes if you do that more than 2 or 3 times, then you want to take your sweater off. So the cardigan just makes it easier.
It's all about layers.
Definitely. So, yeah, I just picked up some button bands. I did a strand of, actually, I probably should have taken a picture before I cut it, but I found the midpoint, and I just ran a strand of, contrasting worsted yarn right through the center of it, and then I picked up my button bands like 2 full rows outside of that center line, and I actually just cut this right before we started filming.
I know. I walk into the room and she's like, hey, she's just like sniffing the
cutting
sweater.
my sweater. It's like once you've steeked a couple of times, it's a lot less scary.
Yeah, there's no fear.
No, there's really not. It's going to be fine. And actually, I didn't even steam block this. I was thinking about it, but
it looks good.
It's getting late. We got to start working on dinner because it's knit night tonight.
Oh, yes, it is. I have no idea what day of the week it is.
It feels like it should be Friday already. But
I feel like every day feels like it should be Friday. Most of the time.
It's been a long week so far, but in any case, so I'm happier with this now as a cardigan.
I love it.
Thank you. So, so let's talk about some other finished objects. Do you want to show your tiny little finished object? Okay. That's so cute.
I was going to do it as into the whips, but I will do it.
Yeah, go ahead and show it.
So, this is a little superhero cape for a 1-inch hamster.
Well, I think the whole hamster is about 3 inches.
Oh, yeah, but like the measurements that we were sent were she put the hamster next to the ruler, and it was just like 1 inch. So
this is somebody who lives in Montclair who is posting on one of the local forums who is looking for hamster costumes. Yeah. And so Haley is going to make her some hamster costumes.
So this is installment number 1.
Yeah.
And actually, so I made it just so that like the little neck would tie so it could come off really easily. Because it's also too small for Velcro. So.
Yeah, really. That would be hard to sew Velcro in there. Yeah, so the hamster superhero cape. We'll have to we can take a picture of that. Actually, maybe, though we probably won't have it for this podcast, maybe eventually we can have a picture of the hamster wearing the superhero cape. I think that would be...
But it's nice and sparkly.
Very sparkly.
It's very cute. So this is my one finished object for the past... How many months have we been counting?
You've been busy with other things. You've been busy. It's okay.
Yeah, I mean, I've just kind of lost my crojo a little bit.
But maybe we'll be getting it back.
Waiting for her to arrive.
We can talk about that with On the Needles or Hook. I even have something on the hook this time. So another thing that I did in the last few weeks is a kanzashi cowl. And actually, yeah, I brought this home from the store today.
I love the rainbow.
This is with Noro Kanzashi, and it is Tin Can Knit's Simple Yet Effective Cowl. Mm-hmm. Could you hold the other side? So it's a little hard to tell because this is a boucle yarn, but I think it does make sense to do something other than just like either knit garter or knit stockinette all the way up, like do a little, a little bit of knit on the purl side, reverse stockinette, a little. It does change the texture. You can see it up close.
Yeah, definitely in person. It probably won't show up on camera. I couldn't tell until I was looking right at it.
But it starts basically with some reverse stockinette, and then like 8 rows of stockinette, and then 3 or 4 more rows of reverse, and so on, and it alternates.
Quite cute.
And I made this so that it would really work as a single wrap. So I'm going to just put it on. It's so pretty, and I've been wanting to make this since we got this yarn. Honestly, it's like this has been in my head that I just need to make a little simple cowl. So this is a store sample now.
With, any color for your outfit.
Yeah, exactly. If you like bright jewelry tones, this is a good one. So and actually you'll see more about this in whips too, because I did not use the whole skein. So another thing I made in the last few weeks was Sasha Green, Insatiable Knits, and
very young.
our colleague Sasha, who works at Yarnia, her Brioche Waffle beanie. And initially this was going to be for my husband, but I made it.
It's the same color as the other hat.
It's true. They had the last hat I made him. I made it and I loved it, and I said I was going to keep it, and then I'll make him another hat, which I have not done yet. So it was a super fun and easy knit brioche waffle beanie, and it's half brioche. So you only do because it is ribbed, you do burps, never barks, I guess. So those
I don't know what that means.
Those of you who brioche will know what that means. And I never did block this. I've been wearing it. It's like nice and squishy.
Yeah,
and
even though it's only half, it still has the squishiness of brioche.
Definitely.
That's a sentence.
And it is truly reversible too. Do you want to try it on the other way? I wove my ends carefully.
It's so cute. It still has like the very trendy like rib that like stretches out when you see it.
Yeah. So, and I would make one for Haley, except she doesn't really wear hats. Just her New York Rangers hats.
Yeah, I have a couple of Rangers hats. They're not doing too hot so far into 6 games into the season.
But it's so cute. It's really fun. Yeah. So
if anyone else is a Rangers fan, comment below.
That's right. And then when I finished making the hat and deciding I was going to keep it, and I guess I need to make sure I do make him another one. If you have suggestions for men's hat patterns, please comment that too, because
yes.
Even though I'm in Yarnia 4 to 5 days a week and on Ravelry a lot and see a lot of patterns, I haven't found the right one. Though
maybe something with like a brim, like one of those that like folds up like almost half of it's a brim.
Yeah, I again with the whips, I have an idea of something that might work. We'll talk more about that. So this didn't even use the whole skein. This is Madeline Tosh DK in Spooky Stars colorway, I think.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's one of the new ones we got in our big restock. So I had made 2 of the finished objects I had in the last podcast were How Quiet Mitts by Helen Stewart, that I made 1 pair for a friend of mine as a Christmas gift, and I made a pair. I love them so much I made a pair for myself and changed up the rib pattern. So I changed the rib pattern again to match the brioche waffle beanie. So this is a little half brioche pattern, and this was Jen's original suggestion. She reminded us that basically these mitts are a great palette to do something else with, and I did the bluebell rib on one. And actually, I still want to do a bluebell rib hat. If I can ever find my other skein of that color that I had from when we originally ordered it, I will do that because I like matching sets. But yeah, I had enough yarn. I said, and I waited and I split it. And because these do start here and work your way down, it's not as easy to adjust as it is sometimes. They start at the wrist and work to the knuckles. But I used up everything but about a foot of this yarn between the hat and the mitts.
How many grams did you start with when you split it and weighed it?
I think something like 40.
Okay.
So they're 20 each approximately. And after I finished making them, I'm like, oh yes, and because the panel's brioche, it would be so cool. I can reverse these too and have reverse stockinette. And actually this one, and of course they're going to be on the opposite hands.
The best laid plan.
This one is totally fine. I think it looks so cute. You know, reverse stockinette, your nice
this
rib.
Side of the hat.
And then I flipped this glove inside out and found that I had made a mistake.
There's a cute little line all the way across.
There's a little ridge, which
I think it looks.
You said you think it looks okay, but
I
don't know.
It looks fine because the placement of it, it's
like literally right in the middle. Yeah.
It matches.
But,
I mean, if it they don't match. Here, show them.
Yeah.
Like they don't match because of this. But I think with just this one, put this hand down. I think with just this one, it doesn't look bad. You know.
If I ever do it again, I would be much more careful. But I must have knit all the way across a single row, and that's why it's pearls on that side. There's like a row of pearls, but you can't really tell on this side. Like now that I know it's there, you can sort of see one of the ditches is a little bit deeper than the others.
I don't think
but
you can really tell.
And I don't know. Now that I know it's there, I can see it. But anyhow, I don't really need to reverse my mitts. But I have gotten a lot of wear out of these since I made them.
Yay.
Yeah, and I might actually make another pair of inside out ones and be careful, be much more careful also about weaving in my ends. I mean, once I turned them inside out before I wove in my ends, so I knew that I really wasn't going to do that with them. So I was not as careful as I would be if I knew I were going to actually reverse them. So that is numbers 4 and 5 for
finished objects
this year. And really the last time
this year.
Yeah, the last time, kind of crazy. Last time we talked, it was a couple of days before the end of the year. So actually yours may be a 2020 finished object. I think it might have been right before.
I honestly don't remember that far ago.
It's like 4 weeks-ish. And then
memory.
One more, finished object number 6 for me is one of my chunky hats. Because
I love this
we
yarn.
get this I got when we first got this shipment in of knitted with cotton candy. This is the oil slick colorway, which has always been one of my favorites. And this particular batch was very saturated looking. Yeah. Sometimes it's a lot more kind of mellow, sort of. Yeah, muted, exactly. So so I did this, and this actually I may wind up undoing and adding a couple more rows and then adding a pom-pom. Found my pom-pom.
Yeah, I love it looks like a painting palette, like if every stitch was a different brush stroke kind of thing.
That is one of the things I always love about all the knitted wood hand dyes. Yeah, definitely, especially if we're working in a big gauge. Every stitch, and even every half stitch, every piece of every stitch can be a different color, but they all blend together beautifully. So that's kind of cool.
Ta-da.
Yeah, so, and actually we are pretty low on knitted wood cotton candy right now, but we always restock. We love Laura Jean and knitted wet, so we know that there will be more coming, and we are still well stocked on the DK, and pretty well stocked on sock as well. So
good.
You want to try that one on too? That would look cute. Yeah, maybe you'd wear that instead of a ranger's hat. What do you think?
I like ones with pom-poms.
So here's one with pom-pom.
But like yarn pom-poms. These ones are too light. Like the one on the white Franca hat, it is so light. I can feel it. Like,
I love that hat. That was a good one.
I love it too. But the pom-pom is just, I don't know, I like a
all right, I can make a yarn pom-pom. I'll make a yarn pom-pom, man. Yeah, that's fine. All right, so that is finished objects. Mostly for me and a little bit for Haley with her.
The tiniest little finished.
But it is finished, and we'll have to get that to the hamster very soon.
Yes.
All right. We'll be back in a bit with works in progress.
Let's see, just to tell you about my finished objects, which I have 4, but they are all very tiny. So, and they are baby socks. So I have 4, but I can only find 3. This one, these are baby socks. The pattern is More Better Baby Socks by Ann Budd, which I've knit from several times. It's a collection of 5 sock patterns for babies with all sorts of little, you know, different designs. Some are lacy, some have stripes, some have like little knit pearl or cable patterns, but they're really cute. Yeah, I knit the first pattern, which is a stripes pattern, and I didn't put any stripes on. So this is just leftover sock yarn from socks that I've knit. So both of these, let's see, I used this for the Cirrus socks last early summer, midsummer. Yeah, I guess it was last summer. I knit the Cirrus socks from Helen Stewart, Handmade Sock Society number 3. And then I also made the Justitia socks that Evelyn Bourne made that pattern. And this is my leftover yarn from that. Cirrus socks leftovers, Justitia socks leftovers. And now they have baby socks, and I still have extra yarn. I didn't bring my bag up here with me, but yeah, I'd say I probably still have, you know, like 20 grams or so, which is enough. Someday I'm going to do a scrappy socks yarn something, blanket something, and this will be good. The leftovers will be good memories for that, but this is good use of my leftovers. And I don't have like 40 grams left. I only got probably 20. But anyway, just a little bit about these. So they are a top-down pattern. Now they use this little, here I'll show you the top of this sock. Okay, so this is the top of the sock, and you'll see it has these little, almost like picots. They use a Channel Island cast on, which I've only ever done on this pattern. I think it would be really good at the beginning of any sock pattern. It has the way that you do it, and there's YouTube videos on how to do Channel Island cast on, but it makes a really nice stretchy cast on, which is good for getting over little baby heels. I think it would make a really good cast on for any sock. And then I just did a 3x1 rib, which is the pattern calls for 3x1 rib, but in stripes. It also has a short row heel, which if you know me, you'll know I am not a fan of short row heels on my own socks. Some of the, if you've watched this for a while, some of the Helen Stewart sock patterns have a short row heel, and I always sub in a heel flap and gusset because I prefer that fit on my foot. But we're not talking about my foot, we're talking about a baby foot. So for that, I figured I'd follow the pattern, right? Like practice a new technique. And there is a really cool technique in here. I like how she does her short row heels. There's, she adds in an extra yarn over each time you turn, and then you're picking up like 2 yarn overs plus the stitch when you're closing it up again. And what that does is it makes it really nice and yeah, it makes it really nice and complete, and there's no holes in your short row heel, right? Jen said she had tried this method of short row heel, and it didn't work as well for her because she knits loosely, so those yarn overs were a little loose to begin with, and then it sort of destroys the purpose of the whole venture. But I don't knit loosely. I knit on the maybe a little bit tighter side of normal, or to like normal tension, and it worked really well for me. So yeah, if you're making these, try off the heel, because I found it was really cool. Now this green one I knit exactly to pattern. Again, aside from the stripes, I didn't feel like dealing with 2 balls of yarn, which has the short rows on this side for the heel, and then you actually do it again and essentially turn another little heel and then stitch it together here on the top. So I did that first, and Teddy wore these for about a week or so before I started these. Well, not a week, a few days. And I found he was kicking them off. Like this toe box on a baby is extremely big. And he was just like kicking his little sockies off all the time. So on these, I actually did something different. Instead of doing essentially another heel on the toe, I made a standard wedge toe. So I just decreased every other row on, you know, the front and the back on either side until I had 8 stitches on my needle, which is exactly the same as I do for my toes, and then Kitchenered it up at the end. And I think these are going to work better. I'm going to put in a little video. I'll put in a little outtake at the end of Teddy wearing these because I literally just cast them off. This was going to be a work in progress, but my meetings went long this morning, so now it's a finished object. Yay! Otherwise, I would have had no finished objects. I guess, except for what I'm wearing, which is the Damejakka Loppa. And I'm finally wearing it. I got all my buttons put on. I got the ribbon put on. So, see, these are pewter buttons from Norway that we have in the store. And then I got my ribbon put on the inside. So this is just covering the steek stitches on the inside of the cardigan. It's not required. Certainly, this is made out of Rauma phenol yarn, which is sticky enough that it wouldn't go anywhere. But I wanted just to finish that on the inside. But I'm really happy with it. I've worn it a few days this week. Again, this is a non-superwash yarn, so it is a little bit more rustic than like a superwash would be. It doesn't have that super silky smooth feeling, but I don't find it scratchy at all. I've been wearing it for, this is my second full day wearing it, and it feels great, right? Definitely has texture. I don't find it itchy. And I just have like a little strappy tank top under here. I'll show you my buttons and talk about placing buttons. So I put these buttons on. You'll notice it's not exactly the same distance everywhere. But what I wanted to do was definitely have a button here at the top and definitely have a button here at the bottom, right at the top and the bottom, so there's no gaps. And then the third button I put in was this one here, right at my bust line, right? Because what I didn't want happen was to have like that little gappy thing that happens if you don't have this button in the center of your bust. So that's what I did first. Then I placed this button evenly between these two, and then I placed the remaining buttons evenly on the bottom side. So it's a little bit different distance from here to here than it is on the bottom buttons, but that was less important to me to have like perfectly evenly spaced buttons, because when I did them all evenly spaced, there was one at the top and the bottom of like that widest part of my bust, which I knew was going to like pull open forever and ever. And it doesn't matter how good, for me, it's one of my pet peeves. I don't like it when my sweaters gap open at the bust line, no matter how pretty the sweater is. So this is my modesty button. Let's just keep those girls where they should be, right? But anyway, yay! So that's my finished objects. I do have also at the end of this podcast, and I'm going to be breaking out some of the tutorials that Jen did over the summer and this one too. I do have a video of me putting in the ribbon on this sweater. So if you have questions on like, okay, I have a sweater, I steeked it, and now I have this ribbon, and what do I do with it? How do I sew it in? I have a tutorial or a little video of how I sewed in my ribbons. Now, disclaimer, I'm not an expert sewist, and my stitches are not the most pristine and neat in the world, but the technique is there, and if you want to improve your stitches from how I do it, go for it.
So let's go to finished objects, because I have something that is finally partially finished. It's not really finished. As you can tell, I am wearing my summer sorrel. I have not done sleeves and in any way, shape, or form. This is literally hanging out on the waist yarn. See, there it is. Look, you can see behind me. Ooh. But I know I had been talking about doing long sleeves for this, but I'm kind of liking the short sleeves, especially since the scoop is really big. It's a little bit bigger than I had anticipated, but I'm pretty happy with it. Anyway, let me stand up a little bit so you can see. So it's completely unblocked. But this is the width. This is the high hip. I'm wobbling. That's the high hip length I decided to go for. And the pattern called for 2x2 rib at the bottom. I ended up doing a twisted single rib because I liked it kind of echoes this a little bit. And now I confess part of the reason that I'm like, maybe I shouldn't do long sleeves is because if I did short sleeves, I'd be done. I would literally pick up ribbing, I would do the ribbing, and then I would be done, and I would have a finished object, and I haven't had a finished object in a while. So, for me, that is. So I'm thinking maybe that'll be the case. I don't know. What do you think? Or I could do like 3/4 kind of like bishop sleeves or like bubble sleeves where they go straight and then they gather in at the hem and they come to like here. I don't know. What do you guys think? What should I do? I mean, the thing is with short sleeves, I could always just rip out the ribbing and then do long sleeves again. But I don't know. Oh, I hear stomping. So it might be snack time, in which case I might need to just pause and continue. Anyway, so that's my summer sorrel. This is Mad Tosh sock. I really like this pattern. I think if I did it again, what I would do is I would do a slightly higher scoop neck. I do think this is pretty flattering. I don't think I would wear it a ton in the winter. I'd want it to come up just a little, especially in the back, just a little bit higher. Oh, it's PJ day. Hey, babe. How you doing? I'm podcasting. I got to finish up, okay? I won't delete this. We won't delete this. Ollie is doing first grade in a pod on our porch. So, and it's PJ day. That's why he has PJs and gloves and his mask and his headphones. Are you in class right now? Or are you... That is my semi-FO. I don't really have a ton of FOs. I have a lot of whips, and of course now I'm thinking about more whips because we had a partner meeting and we were talking about some things, and now I have ideas. So let's move on to whips. So let's start with, since I was just mentioning Ollie, I have a pair of socks for him. There's like 18. I'm doing 2 at a time, which even though I don't love magic loop, I do like the 2 at a time. And the reason I like the 2 at a time is because I'm done a lot quicker. So this is ribbing on the instep and ribbed the whole way because, growing kid, my standard thing. And then I'm almost at the toes. I need him to try it on because I feel like the reason I'm making another pair of socks for him is I made a pair of socks for him and then he promptly had a growth spurt. So now they're a little small. So I'm going to make these a little bit big so he can grow into them. And this is some random sock weight that I had in my stash. I'm not even sure. It may be 20 years old. But, whatever. It's fine. Socks for the kid. So I have socks for him. And then, I should show my temperature blanket. I started talking about this, I think, the last podcast. Here is my color card of colors. I don't know if you can see that. And so right now this is the cool side and this is the warmer side. I'm really happy with this palette and I'm even happier with how it's going. So this is my crochet temperature blanket where I am taking the average temperature of every day for the year of 2021. And I did 300 foundation chain. I did actually a chainless or foundationless single crochet to start, 300 across, and for January 1, and then I'm doing moss stitch or linen stitch where it's the single crochet chain 1 and then the next row you go into the chain space, and I'm super happy with how it's coming out. It's really pretty. Look at that. I love that. It's super little purpley, grayy, taupey, which is not necessarily my normal colorway, but I'm really loving it. And it's long. It's super wide. It's arm span width. So, and plus stretchy. So this is, I've been doing them kind of like weekly, really. I've been writing down in my notebook, I've been writing down the temperatures, the average, and doing the average temperature each day. And I've written them down in my notebook and I cross them off when I'm done. So I think I am at, this is maybe like January 15th, 16th, something like that. And so I'll do a couple more. And I realized, especially, like, I am not a do a row a day kind of girl. Like, I'm like, do like 5 rows at a time kind of girl, which works out well because I'll just do it on the weekends. And just, this is my setup for my yarns. Look at how pretty they are. So, coldest, average temp to warmest. I love it. I'm excited for it. The only thing about this is that, like, this is the kind of project that I would, like, blow through. So it's kind of good. It's forcing me to wait a little bit. But, you know, it'll be good. And then one other, well, I guess, like, I don't know if this is a whip or an FO, but let's say it's a bit of both. I have decided, I was trying to figure out something to do with a lot of my hand spun. You can see my wheel behind me, because I've been spinning a lot. And then one of the things I realized that I could do with the hand spun, because some of it, like, I don't have a ton of the yarn, like, it's a little thick thin still, is I could do a granny stripe blanket out of hand spun, which I think would be super fun. Because then it's like I can commit to like 1 or 2 rows of the same color, and then, like, because I have a whole bunch of hand spun that's a jumble of colors, and I was trying to figure out what to do with it. So a couple of the things that I've been doing is I've been spinning some more. So this is a spin of Southdown, and here's the rest of it. Which I really love these colors, and I like the breed, the Southdown wool. This one is, what is this one? This one is Superwash Merino. This is actually a very similar dye, but this was a progression that I split. So I have the reds, and then I have the blues and the greens and the purples, which I think will be fun. And then I have a couple others. So I have like a whole little bin of finished spins that need to be finished. And by finished, I mean they need to be wound into a hank, tied, and then washed in really, really hot water, and washed, like, soaked in really, really hot water, both to set the twist and to make, like, let all the fibers kind of plump up. So I need to do that. So I'm just going to probably do a whole bunch at once. And then once that's done, then I need to wind them into balls. So right now I have a basket behind the computer that has spins that have been finished and wound into hanks that I need to wind into cakes. And then I have another basket of fiber that's ready to be spun. So I think I'm going to just do this in a bit. And I did, like, I think 3 4-ounce packs of fiber yesterday, just because, you know, I was bored. Wanted to do something else. So yeah. So I also am still finishing up the final touches on the Marie Chen sweater, which was our sweater class. And one of the things that I was talking to Amanda and Kathleen about at the partner meeting was what my next sweater class was going to be. And we decided on color work. Number 1, DK weight color work. And then I am looking at patterns to decide. So if you guys have a favorite color work, like yoke pattern, I'm thinking top down is easiest for beginners for the most part, just because it requires less judging than bottom up. And yeah, so we're gonna do that, and then I have to look at schedule to schedule that too. So, and the other thing that came up during that partner meeting as a whip that I don't even have the yarn for, but I'm kind of mulling over the idea, is there's a sweater that I've wanted to make for a while called Wolf River that is a bulky weight lace front sweater, and I would do it cropped. And I think that there is some loud chomping going on to my side with the 6th grader, but I think that there's some Shire Green Cascade Eco Wool Plus in the store that I am going to be doing that in. So we'll see if I actually finish anything or if I end up with yet another sweater on the needles. Entirely possible.
Let's see. Next work in progress works. I have 2. I brought 2. I showed them to you last week, but there's more progress made on them this week. So first is the Elder Throw by Lisa Richardson. I finished the sections that I was working on last week, section 5. So now sections 4 and 5 are done, and I'm on section 6. And this one is going to be a long section. I can already tell. This is going to be another one that might take me 3 or 4 months and might make this a back burner project for a while again until I slowly work through this section. But I don't dislike it. I'm enjoying it. So I'll tell you about it. So this is section 6, right? It looks like stranded colorwork, but it's not. This is a 3-strand slip stitch pattern. So you're working with, I have 3 strands coming out of this, out of this block, 3 different colors, but I'm only on any row, only working with 1 at a time. So I work with them in order, A, B, C, A, B, C, and just work the stitch pattern across the row. So it's not hard at all. This is totally TV knitting. I do have to detangle my balls sometimes because they get a little twisty around each other, which is fine. But yeah, it's super easy. I prefer this greatly to the cabling one, but like this is a week of work for me, which obviously you can tell from like 4 and 5 squares, number 4 and 5. I finished those a lot faster. This is going to take a while, and it's this long, right? And it's pretty much a square. So I have a long way to go, to get to the end of this square. And there's 6 of these squares. So this is clue number 6, or, it's clue number 6 of the Elder Throw by Lisa Richardson. But you probably won't see this again on the podcast, at least until I'm done with my first square. Then after I'm done with my first, I'll show you the finished first square, and then I'll show you the finished all 6 squares, which might not be till June. And that's okay. This is a good, I'm not at a good, this is good conference call knitting. It's excellent conference call knitting, excellent TV knitting. But yeah, I honestly see this taking a little bit of a back burner because I know I have some sweater projects coming up that are going to take precedence. But it's fun. I like it. That's the Elder Throw. And then the other work in progress that I have is my Drachenfels by Melanie Berg. And I just got to color number 3 last night. I should have put this on a longer needle. I thought about putting this on a longer needle and I did not. But so far, this is what I have on my Drachenfels. I finished all of the first part, right? Last week I had not even that much done. But I finished the whole first part, which has this, several blocks of color A and then a few stripes of color B. And you do that a few times, right? 1, 2, 3 of that. And then you go into this stripes pattern. So I'm about a third of the way done with the stripes. And I just hit the point in the Drachenfels shawl. You have one little pop of the third color, which is a gray. And yeah, I just knitted that one stripe of the third color. There's it goes back to the navy and white for a while, and then switches to the gray and the white, and then we just use the gray and the white exclusively for the rest of the shawl. I love this pattern. This pattern is an excellent pattern for someone who is just getting bored with knitting 101 patterns, right? There's no pearls in this pattern at all. I'm thinking, no, there's no pearls. You do have to know how to knit front and back, and you need to know how to, or you don't have to know how to. This is an excellent pattern to learn how to do that skill and practice it on every row. And then knit 2 together, which if you finished a hat, you probably knit 2 together. But yeah, if you're looking to learn if you want a first shawl, this is a great first shawl. This also, again, looks like color work here. It's not, it's slip stitches. So, very accessible, I think, for a beginner knitter, and really a great project. Again, I'm using a sport yarn. For this, in the store now, we have Cash Merino Sport, which actually comes in these colors. You could make a shawl that looks almost identical to this out of Cash Merino Sport. We're taking a look at this yarn. I'm actually going to drop this off at the store for Jen and Kathleen to take a look at, see how they like it. We might be getting this in the store. We'll see, but we don't bring it to the store unless we love it, because we want you to love it too. But anyway, so yeah, this yarn is being auditioned, but I really like the pattern. I'm happy to share the pattern with you guys now, but I'm enjoying that project. And this is what I'm working on a lot when I'm feeding Teddy, because like I said, it's all garter stitch. It's literally long rows of knitting. Knit, 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 knit. No purls. Don't have to think about doing anything till the last 3 stitches of the row. Knit, 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 knit. Perfect. Oh, this is a bag that actually my daughter made. My second oldest, who's 19 now, she made this a couple years ago. We were having a bag making night. I was teaching them how to use the sewing machine. Yay. So those are my works in progress.
Hello again.
Hi, it's Kathleen and Haley, back to talk about our works in progress.
Plural.
Plural, works in progress. And again, it's been 4 weeks since we last talked to you, so I have had a little bit of castonitis, as they say. I'm kind of starting all the things and not necessarily finishing them, but that's not always a bad thing. I don't know. Sometimes you need like a different project depending on what it is you're doing.
What the vibe is.
Yeah. So this girl needs her dinner. She's sleepy.
Me, I'm sorry.
So in finished objects, we talked about the Kanzashi cowl, and when I made that cowl, I didn't want it to be a double wrap. I wanted it to be a single loop, and I was surprised, but I had pretty much half the ball left when I finished. So I decided to make another one. So the one you saw earlier is a store sample, and this one is going to be for me. So I'm doing kind of a variation on the Simply and Effective. So I did a few rows of reverse stockinette, and I don't even know, I have it written down. I think I did like 5 regular stockinette, 1 round reverse, and then I'm going to do 5. So it's going to be much more of a kind of noticeable ribbed texture.
A ridge.
Yeah. So, but I thought that would be fun just to mix it up a little.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is that, and it's I cast on the same number of stitches.
So
yeah, I love this. It's so funny. I'm not usually that into rainbows, but it's such a jewel toned rainbow that.
And it's fun when it changes, when it's like a longer gradient, but still it changes quick enough that you're like.
You're always seeing it's like what color's coming up. Yeah. Actually, I was working on this. I think the other one I did while I was watching Bridgerton. Yeah. So. Definitely still Netflixing a lot. So that is the first one that is still in progress. And the second one is my favorite thing I'm working on. This I just started a couple of days ago, and oh my goodness, I cannot love this enough. And maybe if I really work on it tonight and tomorrow, There might even be pictures of it finished by the time Amanda is editing the podcast, so we will see.
That is a challenge.
Yes. So, and actually,
Personal challenge.
I can't show you the picture because it's on my phone, which is we're using to tape the podcast.
We'll throw in a picture.
Yeah. So, I don't know who else plays Animal Crossing. Well, I know Jen plays Animal Crossing, but in the Nintendo Switch game Animal Crossing, as soon as winter arrived, all of the villagers on my island were wearing the cutest little hats. And I'm sure everybody, on everyone's islands, they're wearing the cutest hats. And usually when your villagers are wearing something, you go to the little clothing store and you can buy it pretty soon. Well, I have been waiting and waiting and waiting to be able to buy those hats. And like now we're almost at the end of the winter in the game. They do months like it's November, December, January, from the 1st of November till the end of January. No, till end of February. December, January, February, sorry. So December, January, February is winter, and they've all been wearing these hats since December 1st, and I have not been able to get the hats yet. So it was in my store this week, yay! So I went to Yarnia, I got some yarn to match my character's hat that I thought I would wear, and I'm making myself my character hat, basically.
Very cute.
So, and I took a pattern that I had previously written, Vandy's Nordic Star hat, and that was something I did for a colorwork class that I taught a couple of years ago, and I just extended it so that it's got like 3.5 inches of ribbing so I can roll up the brim, which is not something I usually do, but that's what the character hat is doing, so that's what I'm going to do. And it's going to have a white fur pom-pom, which mine did not have a pom-pom. So I'm so excited. I probably will do this as an actual pattern too, because there are a couple out there. I looked at the ones that were up, but none of them were really...
they didn't match.
They didn't match to my level of detail. Being a little bit of a crazy detail person sometimes. So anyway, I'm really excited about this, and... maybe if I, like I was saying, if I get a lot done, I will actually have a picture of me wearing this for Amanda to put in before she finishes editing the podcast. We shall see. So that is my second one and my favorite thing I'm working on right now. And Haley, you have an in progress as well, right?
I do. Well, see, the thing is, the last time we were on the podcast, I showed you this same project.
And which is the top, right?
It won't look that different to you. But since then, I had taken the whole thing out. I rewound the ball because I was good. So it's been changed. It's different. It's not the same, even though it looks the same. Because I had done whatever the joining was. No, whatever the joining was, like the joining quadrant was way different stitch count than the rest of the 3 quadrants.
And so as it got bigger, it was not laying flat, right?
Yeah, as it got big, well, it was laying flat. It was just the corner eyelets were like curving towards, like it was just not, it was like,
not right.
It wasn't a triangle. It was like a weird
crescent shaped something.
Yeah, like a shell shape. So now I redid it. I'm counting them. So yeah, this is hopefully gonna be a tank top if I ever finish it. And I want to do the sashito embroidery technique where you, like, it's either on linen or like I've seen people do it on knitting, where hopefully, like, I left out I did just through the back loop, so there is like a loop to kind of like have the embroidery have an easier spot to go through.
That makes sense.
You know. So
it's got kind of more of a grid structure. You can really see the grid structure.
Yeah, it is a grid. So that's good. So that's
all right.
That's all I got. But it's something.
All right. One of these days it will be done.
I'm working on it.
You're working on it.
So. Oh,
and you have a mental whip, right? One thing that you're gonna start there was this whole big thing during Biden's inauguration of Bernie with the mittens.
Oh, yes.
Everyone's seen Bernie with the mittens.
We're not showing the whips to be yet that are still in yarn balls, but yeah, someone asked me to make a Bernie amigurumi.
Yep.
You've probably all seen the pictures. Actually, the woman who made the pattern auctioned off for $20,000.
Wow.
Like it
the
all
original
went to
one?
Yeah, it all went to
a food bank or something.
Yes. I forget which
so
one.
Nice.
Starts with an M. But yeah, I just saw that today, so that's kind of crazy.
That's
she was
amazing.
like, the winner wants to remain anonymous.
Wow.
That's cool.
That's very cool.
So
yeah.
Go her. I think we'll put in her username for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Tiny Timber Amigurumi or something.
Toby Time?
Yes, yeah.
Toby Time Crochet.
Crochet.
Mm-hmm.
She does like dolls,
Mm-hmm.
like people dolls
mm-hmm.
of
mm-hmm.
amigurumi. So yeah.
Cool.
I saw that.
That's really cool. That's very nice. Yeah. And actually, we've had a lot of people have done patterns that replicate the mittens. The mittens were actually made from recycled sweaters,
yeah, which we've done with coasters.
Yeah, we've done coasters. I used to do wine cozies too. Like if you take the sleeve, that's a great.
And just go snip.
You felt it. Felt the sleeve of a nice big.
Not hand knit.
Colorwork
like
sweater. Yeah.
Thrifted.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
Thrifted,
I did all that
machine.
stuff with thrifted.
But yeah, if you felt them, you can do a lot of things with them.
Yeah. So, so there was a school teacher in Vermont who did that and gave the mittens that she made out of thrifted and cut up sweaters to Bernie, and he wore them to the inauguration very famously as he was relaxed in his chair.
He wore them on the campaign trail as well. Like it's not the first time.
But just him wearing those, seated in the chair with no hat. That's what it's like, if you want to stay warm, yes, hands are important. Head is important too, especially if you don't have as much hair as people like us.
Every knitter does know that.
Yes.
Every crafter maker knows that.
So we just did a restock of our Diamond Superwash, which is, I think, a really good yarn for. Yeah, and so I put together a couple of kits if people want to make mittens. There's also a really cute cowl pattern based on the mittens, as well as a hat pattern. So if you're interested, stop by the store. Call us, and actually maybe we'll see if we can put some of those on as kits. I know that's something Amanda has done for a couple of things. So we've got a few patterns pulled out, and we're working on that.
I love how quickly everybody started making things.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
Well, I can't wait to see your amigurumi. I think that's going to be very fun, because
maybe we should do a series. If anyone wants to send us pictures.
Well, you know what? I was thinking actually of taking the Bernie mitten pattern and doing it like in blues with maybe a little bit of red and sending them to Joe. Don't you think that would be fun? Because one of the other fun memes was, Joe's like, I'm the one that got inaugurated, and everyone is talking about Bernie Sanders, which I think is kind of funny. But anyway. All right. So that is 1, 2, 3 works in progress and a 4th soon to be work in progress. Let me check my handy dandy cheat sheet is on the floor. So the next thing I'm going to talk about is not on my needle but on my hook. Another
whip to be is for my friend. 2 actually for the same friend, but her dog just passed away because he was really old.
Yeah.
So inspired by the Edwards Menagerie, I might do a memorial dog for her. Like
that's
out
so
of,
nice.
Like,
yeah.
the dog patterns because I have the dog.
You have the book. Yeah.
So that's a whip on the nog.
But we just did a huge restock of Toff kits. We got like 50 of them.
They were so fun, and like when we were doing them in the store, people came in and were like, "Oh."
So I had a long time ago, or the last big order we got, bought one of the. I don't think it's Ellie the Elephant. What is her name? Thank you. Bridget the Elephant. I bought a Bridget the Elephant kit. And so I finally started this the other night right before I became obsessed with my Animal Crossing hat. I'm pretty sure that we're taping on Wednesday. I think it was Monday. It was Monday that I finally got those in my store in Animal Crossing and got the yarn at the store on Monday. It started at Monday night. But before that I was working on Bridget the Elephant. And this is so fun. It really has been like I do like to crochet, but I just don't do it that often. It's like I don't know. I always have a million things I want to knit, but was very happy to be working on this. And the yarn is really nice. This time we actually assembled the kits because
the paper gets crunched over.
They've switched from plastic packaging to paper. It's more environmentally friendly. Yeah. Thin cardboard boxes, but they definitely got a little beat up, some of them in shipping last time, so
and also
we assemble them ourselves.
There's not like packed bags. That's why they ship soda bottles in like a little test tube shape, and then they blow them up at the factory where they fill them, so it saves, so they're not just shipping empty bottles that take up a lot of room.
Interesting. I did not know that.
Not every single one, but I've
Some
seen
of them.
that.
Cool. On how it's made, probably.
The internet.
Okay.
But I don't think people made it up. I feel like it makes sense.
Could be. So, anyway, that one hopefully will be a finished object by next time. We'll see. We'll see. And then the last thing that I haven't given an update on in a long time, but I have been working on, and it is almost complete, is one of the Embroidery Sage kits that I got a while back. It is the Cactus Garden. And and this is what I'm doing for Haley because she loves her succulents.
I do. I just got succulent pillows in the mail today.
They're so cool. They're really fun. But I have got really all of the parts, I think, or just about all of the ones that you completely fill in with satin stitch, and a lot of the stuff, that's done with backstitch. And I'm getting there. I don't know. I have maybe 20% of this left to do. Oh, I do still need to do the overstitching of like the spines and little spikes and things.
Oh, are there other colors?
Yeah, well, like this one.
The camera can't see.
I'm sorry. Yeah, there's like an additional level after you finish like the background of all of them on the ones that have satin stitch, and it is cool. I'll take a picture of this. The satin stitch on these is done directionally so that it does give you like dimension. Yeah, it's kind of cool. So, but you then come back and do back stitching within, between the different panels that you've created by the direction of your stitches. So yeah, this is coming along. I definitely have spent some, few evenings. This was really about all my brain could handle, just like needle in, needle out, needle in,
Therapeutic.
needle out. Yeah. So, and actually, I don't know if I've mentioned it, but one of my friends who actually I met through Yarnia and I are working on a series of designs too. So hopefully we'll be progressing that to the next step soon, because we've both been busy with other things, but yeah, we're working on that.
Always projects in the works.
Yeah. So I think that is everything, right?
Yeah.
That's all of our whips at the moment.
Yes. I have plenty of whips on the nog, but...
Yeah, like I really thought by now I'd have yet another Lucky Tweed sweater. But I keep not doing that one because I kind of want to do a mashup of two different sweaters. I was thinking about using the basis of the Felix and then overlaying a diamond pattern that that I used on another sweater, but that I don't want to, whatever. I don't want to do it exactly the same. As I was doing it, I had an idea, like, I could modify this slightly, but that's going to require quite a bit of math, and my brain has not been in a place to do that kind of math right now, because also I'm in the store most of the day doing other kinds of math. So we will see. Actually, Jen and Amanda and I had a good partner Zoom this morning, and Jen showed a beautiful sweater that I'm thinking, I may ask her if she doesn't mind if I do it as well, because it would also be really good for Lucky Tweed, and it's a similar look, but it's already done, and it's even more interesting. I haven't done a cable sweater in a while, so we'll see. We shall see. Something will happen with that purple Lucky Tweed that I got.
Oh, that one.
The raisin. Yeah. It's so pretty. I have it all in the house. There's even one skein been wound into a cake. And it's just been waiting while I work on all these little things and put off doing the math.
Yes.
So, but that's okay.
I love cable sweaters so much. Like one of those, like, you have those, like, it's not quite in the queue necessarily, but it's always like
in the mental queue.
But it's like just one of those like bucket list kind of projects where like you're like, this is like a crown jewel. Like I want either to make or to have a hand knit like fisherman sweater, like where like, the entire thing is just cables. Yeah. One day.
One day. Yeah. So
aspirational projects, maybe.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Why not?
Aspirational, inspirational.
All right. So I think that is it from us for this time, right?
That's all I have.
Yeah.
We did a puzzle.
I didn't do one piece of that puzzle, actually.
Oh, man.
My husband and Haley are the puzzle people in the house.
Yes.
So
now I'm going to show you some things that are new in the store. Yay! The first thing I want to show you is a garment. What? No, we got a garment in from one of our suppliers, from Juniper Moon Farm. So a lot of times we knit a lot of samples for the store. I knit that green beanie the other day. I've knit a ton of sweaters for the store. But this one, sometimes our suppliers are kind enough to knit samples for us too, especially in new yarn lines. So always happy to get those in. This is out of Celestina, which if you haven't seen it yet or felt it yet, oh, it's so delicious. It's 60% cashmere, which is one of the highest cashmere contents we have in the store. We do have a 100% cashmere like bulky weight yarn. That's not very practical for knitting sweaters. But this one's 60% cashmere and a worsted weight. Delightful, delicious. It's called Celestina, and this is the Cassia sweater. I'm gonna look at my note. Okay, this is the Cassia sweater by Claudia Wersing. So I love it. Well, maybe I'll put a picture of my daughter wearing it. This feels fantastic. If you have any sweater that needs like a 16 stitches to 4 inches gauge, this yarn is lovely. The pattern is really cute. It's simple. I think it's probably just knit in 2 pieces. The front and the back flat, and then you seam it on the sides and at the shoulders and add on a stockinette funnel neck. And the round, that's what it looks like to me. Really simple little pop over top and a fantastically lovely yarn. I'll put a picture of all of our Celestina colors in here. I'll go to the store and take some pictures before I launch this podcast. But I think this would be a lovely project if you want some TV knitting. Let's see. One thing I will say that's a little, I think the recommended needle size, I haven't seen the pattern for this yet. It is available on Ravelry, and I'll have a link to that down below. On Ravelry, on the pattern page, it says this is knit on an 11. This is worsted yarn. I don't think it's knit on an 11. I did check the gauge, and it is 16 stitches to 4 inches, which for me, I would get that gauge on like a 8 for worsted, maybe a 9, not an 11. So definitely, if you are looking to knit this, and it says to knit it on an 11 in the pattern, I would check your gauge first, because that's the most important thing, right? Like your sweater's not going to look like this, your fabric's not going to look like this if you don't have 16 stitches to the inch, or to 4 inches. 16 stitches to 4 inches. Gauge matters. But yay, love this. Love it, love it. And this will be in the store. Like I said, this is a store sample, so you can come by, check it out. We are open. So yay. So lovely. And then the other thing, which we just got in last week, and I now have in my bag, is antiseptic hand sanitizer. Yay! So for those of you who have been in the store or have heard us talk about blocking garments or things like that, or participated in our holiday winter knit along in 2019, Soak was one of the gifts in there, and we love Soak. Soak is lovely. They're a Canadian company, and they make washes and rinses for hand knits. So if you're blocking your garments, they're really gentle wash for woolen hand knits, and it's great for like your delicates too. In fact, we have a customer who washes all of her laundry in Soak. So, I mean, because she doesn't generate that much laundry, so she just hand washes it all and uses Soak. Why not? But they announced last August, I think, that they were going to make hand sanitizer, since we all need it. And they have excellent scent profiles, but this one is scentless, which is great. And it's, so of course you've been shopping, or, you know, if you've been to the doctor or wherever, everybody has the gel pumps, and pump your hand sanitizer. This one is a spray. So it's just like spray, hand sanitizer. It has aloe in it, so your hands don't get all chapped. And you don't have that, what I love is I don't have that like sticky feeling from the gels, which I feel like just coats my hand in sticky slime. It's not sticky like my kids get sticky, but you know what I mean? It's like your fingers stay tacky for a while. If you're going to pick up your knitting after that, it just like sticks. And so I love the spray. As soon as we got it in, I tried it and I was like, this is much better than gel. And I took one and put it in my bag.
Yeah.
So if you aren't the fondest of the hand sanitizer gels, but you want to be safe, maybe that's something to check out. We were on the pre-order list and literally just got it in last week. It is in the store. We have both this size, which is the 3 ounces, and then I think there's a 6.5 or maybe it's 8 ounce, a bigger bottle too, that would last forever, because one spray really does not use that much. But anyway, yeah, so I wanted to tell you about that. That's what's new in store.
Oh my gosh, I'm totally spacing. Amanda's knit along, the Cocoa Knits knit along with Woolfolk Far for the Franco sweater. I think it's Franco sweater. She'll correct me if not, if she hasn't already talked about this. That I think is going to be super fun, and that's going to go on in February, for the month of February, and I think that'll be a really great knit along. I mean, Cocoa Knit sweaters are just, it's a really cool method of doing things. So I'm excited to see how that's going to go. I don't think I'm going to join, but I think I'm going to follow along and see how things go, because I think it's really interesting. I mean, obviously I think it's interesting. I'm a big nerd. Who are we talking about? So yeah, so I think that's it for me. So thanks for watching. I hope everybody's safe. I hope everybody is happy and healthy. And don't forget to follow us online. Make sure you get our newsletter. Our newsletter has all of our information, including our classes and links to our classes, sales, new yarns, all that fun stuff. And you can register for that at shopyarnia.com. And then if you scroll all the way to the bottom, you can sign up for our newsletter. And then follow us online on Facebook at Yarnia LLC, and on Instagram as Shop Yarnia. And what else? Everything else is Shop Yarnia. Yeah. So don't forget to like and subscribe down below, and click the little alarm bell so you get the notifications, and give us a shout and comment and tell me what your favorite colorwork sweater pattern is that you want to see us do. I can't guarantee that we'll do it because I don't know, can't guarantee anything. But let us know what you're looking for.
Okay. And I think that's all I have for you today. So thank you so much for watching our podcast, Chronicles of Yarnia. If you like it again, if you enjoyed this, if you lasted this long, click that subscribe button down on the bottom so you'll know when we post again. Give us a thumbs up if you liked what we were talking about today, and hope to see you again. But thank you so much for stopping by today. Great to talk to you. Leave us some comments down in the bottom if you like this episode, or if there's something you'd like for us to talk about.
All right, so thank you for watching. Again, share if you have any suggestions of good men's hats patterns. Happy to hear it. And we will see you all soon. All right, thanks for following us, and we always love to hear your comments. All right, take care.
Bye. Have a good day.
Bye.
Hi, so today I wanted to make a quick tutorial about how I'm finishing off my Damejakka Loppa by Pinneguri. So this is a colorwork cardigan that I made in Rauma Phenol Garn. 5 colors, and it's knit in the round. So that means that all of this, even though there's a break in the center, of course, for the cardigan, so you can open and close it, when you're working, you work in the round. So all of this is knit up to the beginning of the button band. You have a steek, which is an extra set of stitches here. And then continue with the color work in stockinette stitch. So just knitting all the way through. That means you don't have to purl in your color work to make a cardigan. And so when you're done with your knitting, you pick up stitches on the edge of your steek and attach these button bands. And then after you've attached your button bands, you cut your knitting. So the question is today, what do we do with the loose threads on the inside after we've cut our knitting? And you can just leave it. This wool is very toothy. It's like natural wool, and you can just leave it unfinished on the inside, and that's totally fine. Your knitting's not going to go anywhere. But if you want to add a little extra stability or make it look a little tidier on the inside, you can sew on a ribbon. So that's what I've done here. And I'm going to show you today the stitches I used, or the kind of stitch I used to sew in this ribbon. So I ordered this ribbon. This is a jacquard ribbon. It's not quite an inch thick. It's about it's almost an inch thick, actually, because I did order a 3/4 inch ribbon to begin with, and that was too narrow. So this might be 7/8 or something like that. I ordered this ribbon from Mood Fabrics. And in a color that was sort of complementary to my sweater, and then sewed it on the inside. So this side is done. Yay. And you can see here I used this stitch, and on the side I used what's called a fell stitch. Now I'm not a super awesome seamstress, so there are definitely folks out there who could stitch neater stitches than mine, but they're fine for me. And I'm going to show you today how to make this fell stitch. So on the other side, you can see I've already cut my length of ribbon here. I have there's fiber all over my house, so there's a little bit extra. And you can see I've already pinned the ribbon down. So when I cut the ribbon, I cut a little bit longer than I wanted the length to be. These ends are folded under about 1/4 of an inch, right? And I pinned it into place with straight pins. I didn't stretch my fabric too much when I was pinning it down. Otherwise, of course, this ribbon is not, it doesn't stretch. So if you stretch your fabric when you pin your ribbon down, it's going to create a ripple effect on the front of your sweater, right? So you want to be sure to lay it flat and not pull and stretch too much when you're pinning your ribbon to your sweater. And the way I like to do it is obviously, I pin it down here at one end, I pin it here at the other end, and then I lay my work down flat. And the first pin I put on is in the center. And then I subdivide from there to make sure that there's no places where I've got like gaps, where it's not like bunched up or whatever. Make sure the ribbon's even all the way across the work. So that's how I get it pinned on. And I've already done this side. I only have this inside opening left to go. And just to show you where the steek is, I'll take out a couple of pins up here. You can see I've got my steek stitches here, and the ribbon goes from this seam and fully covers those steek stitches. So that's the goal. But I'm going to start my fell stitching at this end. Let's get those little bits tucked in there. And the first thing I need to do, I'm using white thread because that matches my ribbon for the most part. I'm pulling out about a yard of thread, cutting that, and then putting it in my needle, right? Now, when I sew, and this is probably not the most prettiest way to do it, I tie a knot at the end both ends so that my needle's in the loop, and then my first stitch is going to go through this knot, which holds it secure, but it's probably not the tidiest way to do it. So my first stitch here, let's see, where did I go? I ended here. And I actually did quite a bit of searching online to figure out what's the best way to sew a ribbon down on your steeks. See, you got a little, this could hide underneath, I'm sure, if I tried a little bit more. And I actually found this method of using the fell stitch on Helene Magnusson's blog. She's an Icelandic knitter, and I'll link her blog below. She has a lot of good information on knitting, not only Icelandic, but Norwegian, Swedish, all those kind of Scandinavian, that's what I'm looking for, the word, Scandinavian knits, good tips and tricks. So the fell stitch, and you can see it here, right, creates a little stitch from the edge of your fabric over the side, right? And then the next stitch is here from the edge of the fabric over to the side. Right, edge of the fabric over to the side, edge of the fabric over to the side, which looks nice and neat. And this kind of a stitch is used to apply, right? One piece of fabric to another piece of fabric when you want it to be flexible. So to do that, we have a stitch here. That's our starting stitch. And then we're going to pick up just the back layer of fabric right here and come about 1/4 of an inch after our first stitch on the edge of the ribbon. And then our next, we're going to pick up directly under that stitch, right on the, like I said, just the inside layer of stitches, and then come up again 1/4 of the way, or 1/4 of an inch past the end of the last stitch. And I sort of try to come up where in my ribbon there's these little white gaps in the brown border, and I'm trying to come up there just so that the white thread going out to the side sort of falls on where that white gap is to begin with, and it looks a little bit neater. See, like that. And I'll show you when I pick up just these inside layers of stitches, right? I can't see where that stitch is going. I don't see any part of my needle on the outside of my work, and that's important. There have been a couple of stitches I've had to take out because I wasn't paying attention enough, and you could see this white thread on the outside of your work, but that's not the goal. The goal is for it to be invisible from the outside and neat and tidy on the inside. So yeah, I had never used the fell stitch before. Like I said, I'm not a expert sewist, so I thought if it was new to me, it might be new to some of you too. It doesn't take that long. I would say I've maybe 40 minutes per side, and I do a lot of my knitting. I've been working on this while I was on conference calls for work. So it actually does go pretty fast. By the time you get done with a conference call, you're like, whew, I finished the whole side of a ribbon. So for any of you who are on calls regularly, you'll know 4 calls a week is not that much, and you can finish putting on your ribbons to the inside of a steek. So I hope you found this helpful. I'm going to finish this up, and you'll probably see it on a future podcast. Bye.